Earlier this week, Epic Games won their lawsuit against Google. A jury found that Google had practiced monopolistic practices that prevented fair commerce on its Google Play Store. Having lost their original fight with Apple, what does this victory mean for Epic, Google, and the future of mobile gaming?
Well, obviously, Google is appealing this ruling. They're very, very upset that they got this, and I'm not sure where this is going to go. I don't have a lot of faith as this works its way through the courts that Google's going that Epic's going to end up winning out in the end.
Google lost hard here.
Look who's at SCOTUS. I mean,
no. I'm not saying that it's going to make radical change down the line. But Google got caught with emails saying their entire strategy of the Google Play Store.
And literally the reason that they didn't win against Apple is they couldn't prove that Apple had done what Google did, right?
Because for all intents and purposes, they don't.
And so what I think this is going to be is there's going to be executives at Google being like, stop writing things down.
Yes.
Like
the first thing they tell you if you work in communications in a large corporation, do not write anything in an email that you do not want to have come up in discovery. I have been deposed for my job. I used to interview lawyers all the time. It happens every day.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it in the rundown. The biggest difference here, and probably why Google lost, is Apple doesn't open up its ecosystem for anybody. No one.
Yes.
Nobody, right? But because Android is an open source platform and because of the stuff that they do, they have made sweetheart deals with people like Samsung and other folks, which means if you're going to make a sweetheart deal with people like Samsung and other folks, and then you don't let Epic do it, and you write that down, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I mean, that's really what it boils down to. What do you think is going to happen in the end here?
So here, the ultimate thing of what I'm thinking of right here is they are going to, I think Google Play is going to have to be way more transparent in the end about how they are working these deals. Because the whole thing that Google didn't want to do, and this all came up through the jury and through the evidence brought, is Google is worried about other places making their own app store. And with Epic releasing Lego Fortnite and Rocket League Racers and all these other things, they've essentially transformed Fortnite into a platform.
Yes.
It's no longer just a game, it is an entire platform. And if Epic wants to tomorrow go create an app store for Android and put it on and put it out in the world as something that can be downloaded through the Google Play Store, they kind of have a right to do it. And Epic was approached about this same kind of sweetheart deal to like not, we'll give you some cuts out of the store and we won't charge you as much and things like that if you don't go make your own app store.
Yeah, they did that with
22
game developing companies.
Yes.
And they signed 20 of them.
Yeah, Epic and one other didn't want to sign. And so the thing that I think is going to come out of this is there's going to be some radical changes to how the Google Play Store works. Unfortunately, Android can't walk it back and do a walled garden, much like Apple does. And they can't really go through and do some of the same programs and things like that Apple does. So I think you're going to see a lot of these sweetheart deals. You're either going to see one of two things. You're going to see a lot of these sweetheart deals go away, or you're going to see a lot of new app stores popping up that you can download for Android. And it would not surprise me that if in the early part of 2024, Epic finally launches theirs for Android and gets it out there. I really don't foresee them going back and getting a win over Apple, because the whole thing that they've been trying to do with Apple is to get the way that the money is scripted and stuff like that through, Apple had been charging everybody through like the buy now buttons and stuff like that with Apple. The only thing that Epic was able to get out of that was to allow other forms of payment,
Yep.
which circumvented the percentage chain markups and stuff like that.
Yep.
They won that kind of piece in the Apple Store. Apple is, of course, appealing that whole thing. There's a bunch of stuff that's got to go through the courts. But that is a win in terms of being able to pay for things without Apple taking a cut.
Yes.
Which in Epic's eyes is a small victory, even if they wanted to put their own app store on there, because I think that is honestly the end game that they're trying to get to. Is they want their own app store. They want to build Fortnite as a platform. They want to continue to build on all these games and put in all these skins and microtransactions and all these other things that you can kind of get, and then go forth and make billions kind of thing.
Yeah. To answer your track question, an adult app store, I could see it happening if Epic wins, right? If anybody tries it before Epic gets through this whole lawsuit, I think it'll get nuked by Google quick, fast, in a hurry.
Let's also not forget that the EU is coming down on both Apple, Amazon, Google, and several others.
It's the EU is why everybody's switching to USB-C. Literally, it is the European Union is why everybody's switching to USB-C, because the EU is like, stop it, Apple. We're not doing these proprietary cable crap anymore. You don't need to. There's no added functionality. There's nothing good about it. So every Apple device will release USB-C from now on. And Apple's just like, all right, yeah, we give up. Again, Apple won against Epic in their case. Again, largely because they don't allow side loading at all. It's very much, look, this is our platform. This is how it runs.
Apple has a much more transparent way of charging people as well.
Yep.
And if you don't get charged unless you make a certain amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So the barrier to, there were two things that came up with this too, is that the barrier of entry to get into Apple's App Store is not as difficult as some people may have you believe, because if you've seen the bloatware and things that actually make it on the App Store, there's about a bajillion apps on there. Half of them, or 80 to 90% of them, are crap.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's the same thing. They just took the Android version, they made an Apple version of it. It's the same kind of thing. And if you don't make a certain amount of money, then you don't necessarily get charged some of the same fees and stuff that everybody else does. If you start making over $1 million, then the fee structure changes and takes on it's a tiered kind of system that goes in there. The ways and means that some of this stuff works with the EU is they're coming out with something called the Digital Markets app, which is kind of going after everybody, including Meta, Amazon, Google, Apple, everything. And they're trying to get, everything to be opened up, which is going to be a very hard thing to do, to say that, hey, you've got to allow side loading on iOS all of a sudden. When it's a completely different operating system with a different set of rules and things like that. If it's something that you just wanted to download the Epic Games Store app from Epic's site and install it, cool. If you want to get bugs and changes and weird stuff and all like that, like, go for it. But trying to kind of hold the feet to the fire with some of these things is going to be very difficult and a big uphill battle, I think, for the EU on this particular one.
Fight's not over for Epic yet, so Google appealing is not surprising. This one's going to get all the way to SCOTUS.
I think it will get to SCOTUS. I don't know if they'll actually hear it.
You don't know if they're going to give it cert. Good question, and I think a lot of it's going to depend on what happens at the appeals court. Yeah. And so we'll be watching it. We'll keep you guys informed. Let us know what you think. Which of these corporations do you want to burn down? Let us know in the comments.